Since Bugatti decided early on there wasn't going to sell us any parts for this car,
We just don't think it's safe.
we've had to improvise and make everything ourselves.
A YouTuber just spent months rebuilding a repossessed Bugatti Veyron from the ground up. He fixed the fault codes. He fixed the electronics. He was one button press away from unleashing top speed mode on a car that cost more than most houses. And then he tore it all apart again. Not because he wanted to, because Bugatti itself told him the car could kill him. Let's rewind to how this whole saga started. Matt Armstrong is a British YouTuber known for buying broken, wrecked, and seized supercars and bringing them back from the dead. He bought a Bugatti Veyron that had been repossessed. That word matters. Repossessed means the previous owner lost the car, likely through unpaid finance or a legal dispute, and the car ended up sitting unused, unloved, and mechanically neglected. For a normal car, that is a headache. For a Bugatti Veyron, a car built with quad turbochargers, an 8-liter W16 engine, and a top speed north of 400 kilometers per hour, that is a nightmare. Every system on this car was designed by engineers who assumed it would be serviced constantly by factory technicians using factory tools. Matt Armstrong had none of that. What he had was patience, a workshop, and an audience watching every single fault code pop up on his laptop screen. Over months, he tore into wiring looms, chased electrical gremlins, and rebuilt entire sections of a car that very few independent mechanics in the world would even attempt to touch. And here is the detail that makes this story different from every other barn. Find restoration on YouTube. He was not just trying to make the car drive, he was chasing something much harder. He wanted to activate top speed mode, the Veyron's most famous and most dangerous party trick, where the car drops its ride height, closes its air intakes, and unlocks speeds that most supercars can only dream of. So here is the moment everyone was waiting for. According to reporting from June 2026, Matt Armstrong had spent months rebuilding the repossessed Veyron and was finally ready to activate that famous top speed mode. Every fault had been chased down, every broken section had been rebuilt, and then just when success seemed within touching distance, the Veyron found another way to stop him in his tracks. That is not an exaggeration. That is the actual pattern that has defined this entire project. Fix one system, and the car reveals a new problem that was hiding behind it. This is exactly why Bugatti ownership terrifies even wealthy collectors. These are not cars with a single point of failure. They are layered machines where the electronics, the hydraulics, the cooling systems, and the structural components are all interconnected. Break one sensor, and an entirely unrelated system can shut itself down as a safety precaution. For a factory technician with the diagnostic software in the parts catalog, that is a manageable problem. For an independent YouTuber working out of a private garage, that is a months-long investigation with a camera pointed at every dead end. Now here is where the story stops being about mechanics and starts being about power. Around April 2026, reports emerged that Armstrong's Veyron rebuild had hit a hurdle. Not a mechanical one this time, but a legal one. He discovered a loophole that blocked the exact method he needed to use to fix the car properly. Think about what that means. This is not a story about a stubborn bolt or a hard-to-source part. This is a story about paperwork, regulation, and ownership rights standing between a man and his own car, and it gets more pointed from there. In June 2026, Armstrong reached out to Bugatti directly for help fixing the broken Veyron, and the company responded with what has been described as an extremely expensive quote. Read between the lines here. Bugatti is not in the business of casually helping independent owners repair repossessed cars. Every part, every diagnostic session, every hour of factory technician time on a Veyron is priced for an ownership class that does not blink at six-figure invoices. For most people watching this unfold, that quote alone would have ended the project. Armstrong kept going anyway, so he finished the rebuild without Bugatti's help. He got the car running, and then he did something almost nobody expected. He drove the rebuilt Veyron directly to Bugatti's own headquarters in France, camera crew in tow, to show the manufacturer exactly what an independent mechanic had accomplished without their blessing. This is the moment the title of this video refers to. The car was, by every outward measure, finished. It ran, it drove. It survived a road trip across international borders with only the expected hiccups you would forgive, in a 20-year-old hypercar fixed inside a DIY workshop, including a cracked front splitter along the way. And then Bugatti looked at it. According to reporting from late July 2026, the company's response was not celebration, it was closer to a warning. Bugatti made 2 points that sat somewhere between an educated engineering assessment and a formal legal statement, and the message included the suggestion that the car was potentially dangerous. Imagine spending months of your life, and by extension your credibility as a mechanic and a creator, proving that you could bring a repossessed Bugatti back from the dead, only to have the manufacturer itself tell you, in front of your entire audience, that what you built might not be safe to drive. This is the tension that makes this story worth talking about, and it goes far beyond one YouTuber and one car. Who actually gets to decide when a hypercar is finished? Is it the person who chased down every fault code and got the wheels turning again? Or is it the manufacturer that built the car in the first place and understands failure modes that no outsider could ever fully map out? Bugatti has every incentive to be cautious here. A car wearing their badge, crashing because of a repair an independent mechanic could not fully verify, is a reputational risk they cannot afford. But Armstrong has every incentive to push back too, because if manufacturers can simply declare independent repairs unsafe without full transparency, then right to repair on machines like this effectively does not exist. There is no neutral referee in this fight. There is only a YouTuber with a camera and a company with over a century of engineering history protecting its name. And this is exactly why the title of this story is not an exaggeration. The Bugatti was finished in the sense that it drove, it started, and it completed a genuine road trip to the company's own front door. And then Matt Armstrong tore it all off anyway, because a warning from the people who built the car is not something you can simply ignore and keep driving past. As of early August 2026, the most recent reporting suggests Bugatti finally softened its tone, offering what has been described as its first positive response since Armstrong began this entire journey, which also includes a second project, a Bugatti Chiron he has been fixing in parallel. But positive words are not the same as a certified repair. If Armstrong wants this Veyron to actually be trusted with top speed mode, the very goal that started this saga, he may have no choice but to strip back exactly the sections Bugatti flagged as questionable and rebuild them again, this time to a standard the manufacturer itself will sign off on. So what does this really tell us about hypercar ownership in 2026? It tells us that money alone was never the barrier to owning something like a Veyron. Plenty of repossessed supercars sit in auction houses waiting for buyers with enough cash. The real barrier is knowledge, access, and permission. 3 things no amount of mechanical skill can fully replace. Matt Armstrong proved that an outsider can chase down electrical gremlins and rebuild structural sections most professionals would refuse to attempt. What he could not fully prove, at least not yet, is that doing it without the manufacturer's blessing produces a car that meets Bugatti's own definition of finished. That gap between functional and certified is where this entire story lives, and it is a gap that is only going to get more relevant as more repossessed and salvage title hypercars enter the secondhand market over the next few years. So here's the real question we're sitting with. If a manufacturer can look at a car it built decades ago and call an independent repair potentially dangerous, does that protect owners or does it just protect the brand? Matt Armstrong is not done with this Veyron, and he is definitely not done with the Chiron sitting in the same workshop. Whether Bugatti ever fully signs off on this build might end up mattering less than the fact that he forced one of the most secretive manufacturers on earth to respond at all. Drop your take in the comments. Should independent mechanics be allowed to push hypercars like this to their limits, or should some cars only ever be touched by the factory that built them? Subscribe for the next chapter of this saga, because with this Veyron, there is always another chapter.